Steve here from Advanced Global. Just going through a demonstration on how to use our three recommended service coordinator dashboards. You'll notice that I'm in our demo database. This is Service Coordinator 1, Service Coordinator 2, Service Coordinator 3 dashboard. I'm going to go through all three dashboards and I'm going to go through all widgets. And again, this is in our demonstration database. So some of the things like too many rocks in soil, that's not a typical ticket title that you would see, but just kind of bear with me. We're very, very proud of our data generators. We actually have two high school students who generate tickets for us each and every week, open, close. Um, I don't know, it's around 50, 60 tickets each week, just so that we have as close to live data as what you see in your systems. This helps Carol and Leanne and I to do testing. It helps us with demonstration purposes like this. And it also gives us an environment for us to develop and try new things. If you are wondering how to do something or an automation or something, feel free to shoot us an email because we're testing ideas for customers all the time. So anyway, I just thought I should give you a little bit of background as to what we're looking at. So if something doesn't look exactly like your dashboard, you understand a little bit why. So for service coordinator, before I jump in, a couple of bullet points. First of all, our expectation of a service coordinator is that they are going to take ownership of all open tickets and drive all of them from new to complete. So we've set up our dashboards so that they are able to do that. They have total visibility into all open tickets. They know exactly where every ticket is at all moments of time. And when something goes sideways and needs intervention, they're alerted, they're aware of it, and they can take the corrective action. So, number one, service coordinators are totally responsible for all open tickets to know where everyone is at and be driving them from new to close. Even if they're assigned to a tech, they still need to take ownership of every open ticket. The second thing is that when we engage with service coordinator training, we have an understanding with the owner that the service coordinator is the single point of coordination in the company, that they take ownership and control of the tech's calendars, that they determine which tickets need to be worked on when we train them on when they can just add a ticket to a widget and when they need to schedule that ticket and block out enough time. We coach them on how to negotiate with customers, and a wealth of information. So if you have questions around, is my service coordinator cutting the mustard, so to speak, we do have a service coordinator evaluation. We sit down with them and we interview them. And the idea is, are you leaning in and taking full ownership of all open tickets? And are you taking ownership of the single point of coordination? If there's no in either of those areas, quite frankly, the service coordinator flunks the interview. If they feel their hands are tied, our next conversation is with the owner saying you have to give the service coordinator total control, total authority, and they're the ones that have to stay focused. They're the hub of the company, and that's what needs to be done. So, thank you for that little bit of background. Let's jump now into the three service coordinator dashboards. So, the most important widget for a service coordinator is on their number one dashboard, upper left hand corner, and that's the new tickets that are flowing into triage. We expect that all tickets will get triaged within 20 minutes. I know the SLA is set for 1 hour. That's just because that's a reasonable expectation with your customers. Our internal expectation is every ticket gets reviewed and assigned within 20 minutes. I'm not going to go into our triage process here. If you want a triage SOP for your service coordinator, feel free to reach out to us. But we expect all tickets to be reviewed and assigned within 20 minutes. Alert tickets, modern alert tickets, that's a different animal. We're talking about tickets that come in either through a phone call, incoming email processing, drive-bys, verbal reach outs to text, things along those lines. We also coach our service coordinators when a ticket needs to be scheduled. Not all tickets will fit into a queue view, a work list, or a widget. So we set up the automation that if they review and assign a ticket into certain workflows, there are 11 workflows that we coach the service coordinator on, that if it's in one of the workflows that has to be scheduled, it'll pop up here reminding the service coordinator this is something that needs to be scheduled. We give the service coordinator a widget showing them who is out of the office. Again, they need to know where everybody is, what they're doing at all times. They need to control their calendars. When you're a one tech, two tech shop, not a big deal. Somewhere between 4 and 6 techs, things start getting a little crazy. By the time you get up to 10 techs, which is the most any one service coordinator can truly manage, it's going to be hard to remember who's in. Somebody should be watching the surveys. Again, the service coordinator is in a great position. So we give them a survey board. This is automation. This is easy to do business with. We're leveraging the three faces. All the customer has to do to verify that the work is completed is click on hopefully the smiley face. If they're not so sure, click on the neutral. And if things are not right, all they have to do is click on the unhappy face. That alerts the service coordinator. They're unhappy. Service coordinator can pick up the phone, give them a call, find out what's not right, and get the ticket back on the track to be completed, meeting customers' expectation. Again, that is the service coordinator's responsibility. After the triage queue and a little bit of monitoring up here, the most important thing is for the service coordinator to be aware of what tickets are coming up on SLA. No big deal here. We're going to cover this widget in the next dashboard, but it is here to alert them when they need to go to dashboard 2 and do some work. Service coordinator is aware of all open tickets, even the ones that are hiding in the tech's back pocket. They're aware of all the ones that are overdue. We also supplement the service coordinator dashboard with 2 live reports that help them get through their week. The first of those 2 live reports is a backlog ticket list. Backlog list of tickets, or a BLT, is a little different than overdue tickets. Overdue tickets is the due date in Autotask, and it can be manipulated and changed. A live report of the backlog list of tickets, you can't manipulate the date. Either it's an incident over 7 days or a service request over 30 days from the time the ticket was created. There isn't a way to get around it, and the service coordinator again is empowered to totally know where every ticket is in its road from new to complete. If a service coordinator needs help, there's a UDF in a field. Actually, it's a status. I apologize. It's a status where the technician can continue working on the ticket, they're the primary on the ticket, but they can alert the service coordinator that they need some non-billable help, maybe track down parts, maybe reach out to the customer, confirm that everybody remembers going to be on site tomorrow. Service coordinators should always know how many critical tickets are in play. That's just an awareness they need to be of. Customer responded to closed tickets. If you have a problem where you're trying to track reopens and give attaboys to your best techs, but customers keep responding saying thank you, awesome, you're my superhero, and that's hurting your reopen audit trail, then you should talk to us about how to flag customer responded to a closed ticket without actually opening the ticket and without actually hitting that reopen audit marker. If you don't have the reopen audit marker, you should talk with us. We do have a reopen mechanism that tracks how many times ticket is reopened once a tech closes it. And then a customer responded to just in general, they should just know it's good for a service coordinator to check and see. For instance, if a customer responded to one ticket, have a service coordinator check on it. If it's technician 3, the service coordinator needs to reach out to them and say, technician 3's on PTO today. They will be back. They'll be back today. So they'll be back on Monday. If it can wait till Monday, great. If not, I'll scramble another tech to engage. But that's all work customer service rep or service coordinator would be doing. Service coordinator also is aware of all open tickets. Here you can see the last activity date's getting a little aged. Service coordinator, we coach them that when something is waiting and it's over 2 days, that they can easily pick up the phone and call the customer and say, hey, do you know on this ticket, all hotel pillows are missing? Do you know that we're waiting on your response? If you provide me the information, I'll get it in the tech's hands and get this moving for you again. This is also true for waiting vendor and waiting parts. Waiting parts, it's easy for them to either contact purchasing within your MSP or reach out to Tech Data or Ingram, find out what the ETA is on the parts. Amazon does a good job of this. eBay does a reasonable job of it. But there's a way they can track down the ETA of the parts and then schedule it. No longer is it waiting parts, it's now scheduled for a day or two after the parts ETA. Gives you plenty of time to stay on top of it. But if it's waiting parts, they can schedule it. If it's waiting vendor, it's very similar. Call the vendor and say, hey, our tech needs to talk to your tech. When is a good time for us to schedule that? Our tech is available on these days. Do you have a tech available? Let's go ahead and get this scheduled and get it out of a waiting status. So outside of a ticket waiting customer for 2 days, there's no reason for a ticket to stay in a waiting status. And this is all non-billable service coordinator work. Little gamification among the teams showing who's doing real-time time entry. In this area, this is a service manager's responsibility. I'll pause here briefly. The difference between a service coordinator and a service manager is a service coordinator is responsible to drive all tickets from new to completion. They totally control the tech schedule, whereas a service manager is responsible for performance, both individual tech performance, service coordinator performance, and also team performance. So if a tech is not doing real-time time entry, it's not the service coordinator's responsibility to ping them and poke them. That's the service manager's responsibility because this is a performance problem, not an open ticket problem. However, we do have a document detention process mechanism that the service coordinator plays a role in. There's history. I have articles on it. Shoot me an email about the document detention program that encourages real-time time entry. It's pretty effective. It's not the only effective tool in our tool belt to drive real-time time entry. Real-time time entry is critical at 3 levels. Number one, your customer experience. If the techs are not doing real-time time entry, customers are not getting updates at a regular basis. And I don't know about you, but if my automobile mechanic called me on Sunday night and said, hey, oh, by the way, your car was done last Tuesday, you could have picked it up and been driving it all week, I'd be ticked and looking for a different mechanic. And yet that's what our techs are doing. They're turning in time at the end of the day. They're turning in time at the end of the week, turning in time on Monday morning. And all it does is provide a poor customer experience. The second reason is documentation. By the time Sunday night comes around, the note in the summary note, especially the internal notes, and especially if it's the final resolution checked that's going into your knowledge database, is stuff. Fixed. I did stuff. It's like, what's that? That doesn't help anybody. And that's poor. And then the third one again is accurate time entries. I know with our customers, they often wonder why, where's all your time going? That seems like an awful lot of hours. What are you doing? And by us giving real-time time entry with good summary notes, they can look over and go, oh yeah, that makes sense that that took that long and that's all it took to get in it. It makes total sense. And then our customers are very happy for the work that we do, and the bill is no longer an issue. On hold tickets, you may or may not realize this, but on hold tickets are completely off the visibility of everybody except for the service coordinator. The service coordinator is the only person that sees what tickets are on hold. And the critical thing here is the on hold mechanism. If the due date is in the past, that on hold ticket will never resurface on the text dashboard. It will just continually drift off into the past. These dates all have to be in the future, and we hold the service coordinator responsible for that. The service call is scheduled this week, again, just so the coordinator can know who's going to be where, who's on site today, and all of that as they do the job. Contracts expiring. Boy, when I posted this in Reddit that this was a widget we were adding to our recommended dashboards, oh my goodness, the flurry it caused. It's not our number one article in there. I think we had a Thanksgiving Day article that was a kudos to Service Manager, because the techs get the Thanksgiving Day pager on a rotation basis. The Service Manager is always on call on Thanksgiving, backing up the techs. That, I think, is the number one article of ours in Reddit. But anyway, I posted this, that the service coordinator and the contracts expiring widget, and no sooner did I post it, I mean, within minutes, somebody is saying that's not service coordinator's responsibilities. Get that widget off their board. And that's true. I agreed. I replied, I agree with you totally. This is not their responsibility. However, a good service coordinator is all over these dashboards. They know everything going on in these dashboards. I don't know about salespeople or account managers. I want them out on the street, meeting with customers, building relationships. Oh yeah, selling. Go sell something. Accounting people, little bit busy. We did have an accounting person the other day, not aware this widget existed, and said, "Ooh, please give me that widget." We were working on the contracts, and it came up in conversation. So, but we put it on the service coordinator's dashboard for two reasons. Number one, as they're coming up, they can make sure the account manager is aware of it. But the big one is when contracts are ending soon, you may or may not realize this, but the service coordinator has the best relationship with your customers in the building. Yes, the customers love techs because they fix their stuff. You might think as an owner, customers love you the best, but they see every time you come around, you have your hand in their pocket. You're always looking to sell something. Whereas anytime they need something, if they can get a hold of the service coordinator knows where everybody's working. Service coordinator is their ally, and inside your organization, they are their champion, and whatever they need, the service coordinator can get it done. So when the service coordinator says, "Hey, I see that we have some contracts expiring. I see the account manager has sent over a proposal to you. Just so you know, it takes us a while to renew contracts. It doesn't happen instantly. So make sure you give us, 10 days before the contract expires. You don't want it to expire. That causes all kinds of problems. As a matter of fact, why don't you sign it today and get it over to us?" So anyway, that's why it's on the dashboard. Number one, because they watch the dashboard all the time and they can tell the account managers when things are expiring. Number two is they have a relationship in that last 30 days to push and get a signature. Completed tickets waiting billing review. This is time entries that when time entries are submitted, they show up here, gives the service coordinator an opportunity to review it on its way to approve and post. If you've ever thought about it, besides the tech actually doing the work, the service coordinator is the next best person in the building to know what type of work the tech did. Was it on site? Did he do it last night or over a weekend? Is there travel involved? Did he pick up parts and I don't see any charges? So these are the type of things that a service coordinator can look for. Techs by themselves with our speed code, time entry, education, tech ed, they'll do it right about 85% of the time. Adding this widget to a service coordinator dashboard, you can get up in the high 90s, 95, 97, 98% accuracy on your time entries. That streamlines your invoicing process along with the cascading contract automation and reduces your approve and post time by 50 to 75%. So it's a very valuable widget. It's low on the dashboard because this is something they only do once or twice a day, but we do hold them responsible to review all time entries and making sure approve and post is in fine working area. So I'm going to come back to the SLA summary, and you'll notice that we have some tickets that are overdue. We don't have any tickets that are coming up on next SLA. Once it hits the overdue completion, not much you can do. You really deal with it over here and in the backlog list of tickets. But when it's here, triage is overdue, 4 tickets in there. Again, this is a demo database. Our data generators, I absolutely love them. They're the foundation of the company. We depend on them heavily, but they only work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So tickets do get overdue just because they're only working 2 days a week generating data for us. Tech engagement, same type of thing. These things haven't totally disappointed the customer. They've disappointed our internal metrics, but we still have an opportunity for the customer to be happy. And these are the ones. But looking at this board and this, your hands are kind of tied. So we built Service Coordinator 2 dashboard. So when they're following up on these to see what they can do with these stuck tickets to get them moving forward, they come to this board. This shows all open tickets on the techs. We have 5 techs in our demo database. If you have more, don't worry. We can build multiple boards, multiple widgets, whatever you need, so a service coordinator can easily manage up to 10 techs. This is all open tickets, so you can just see if anybody, this is pretty balanced. 8 to 13 is not too bad. Typically, your number one tech has 2 to 3 times more tickets than the rest of the techs, and that gives the service coordinator an opportunity to pick through your number one tech and say, you know what, Tech 2 is totally capable of doing this, or Tech 5 can take a couple of these. The ready to engage widget on the technician's dashboard is the most important widget. And we like to see these between 5 and 8 tickets. 8 tickets with an average of 45 minutes per ticket, which is a typical engagement that we see across all MSPs. 8 tickets in there, average of 45 minutes per ticket. That's 6 hours worth of work. That's a day's worth of work. 5 tickets, you're right around a half a day's worth of work. So we like to see between a half a day and a full day's worth of work on the text. If there's more than 8 tickets in there, they're not going to get to all of them today. That could be okay. Some of them could wait till tomorrow, but they're already starting tomorrow with a partial workload. So just kind of keep that in mind. 5 to 8 is the sweet spot there. Overdue, the sweet spot is 0. However, that's really unrealistic. I would love to see zeros over here. I haven't seen it yet in anybody's database. If your overdue tickets are all 0, please let me know. We had one customer had a pizza party on Friday afternoon and emailed me at the end of the day and said, overdue tickets, 0. Backlog listed tickets, Zero. They nailed it. Checked in with him a couple months later and they were still doing good. It was down in the single digits. So he was really happy. And anytime things start getting away, they have a pizza party on Friday afternoon. They drive it down. I think there's also some sort of gift card involved for whoever kills the most tickets or something along those lines. But I digress. So as long as this number is below 5, the tech will eventually get caught up. The service coordinator can look at these 4 overdue tickets, block out time on the tech's schedule to get these and drive them down. When they start being over 5, that's where a service manager needs to step in. That's going to be a little bit more than the tech and the service coordinator working together can get caught up. That's where the service manager needs to pull these guys together and say, next Wednesday afternoon, we're going to do nothing but work on your backlog list of tickets, and maybe pull the whole team together. Definitely Tech 1 and Tech 4 are behind the 8 ball, and a service coordinator can alert the service manager and say, hey, Tech 1 and Tech 4 are underwater. I've been trying to get them caught up. Not looking good. We need your help. So these are all open ticket counts, but that's only half the story. The other half the story is how many hours is in each of these tickets. We have an automated mechanism that we deploy that automatically populates the estimated hours when a new ticket is created. Better yet, when it's triaged, reviewed, and assigned, at that point, the mechanism can populate the estimated field, and once that's happening, we know how many hours today are on the tech schedule, and everybody looks pretty good. 6 hours is a day's worth of work. If you're wondering why it's only 6, or is that really true? This is about a dozen tickets, maybe 8 to 12 tickets is what's going to get knocked out today, but they have 6 hours worth of work. Tech 1 being a little bit light, as the day goes on, this doesn't bother me. When it gets down to 1 and 2 hours, they have nothing to do today. And that's when it starts bothering me. Again, the SLA summary, you can click on these 36 tickets, see who's in there, and then use the rest of your dashboard to rebalance the workload, both hours and open tickets. So while you're doing that rebalancing using these widgets, you always want to know who's on scheduled on site today, or scheduled remotely. You want to know who's out of the office today. And then also, a graph is usually easier to read than numbers. You can quickly see this tech 2, is the one that's has the most hours worked today. So you can see, just looking at the pie chart, you can see who's light. There we go. Tech 4 is light. Where's Tech 3? Tech 1. They're all in here. Huh, that's interesting. This widget has 8.55 hours. That's estimated hours by resource for the week. This is due today. So they're two different graphs. Tech 1 really is in good shape, but Tech 4, little light. So on the week, this is a different widget. This is a service manager's widget. We put it on this dashboard so that the service coordinator can alert the service manager. It doesn't. We used to be limited to 12 widgets on the Service Coordinator 1 dashboard. We ran out of room, so we put it here on Service Coordinator 2. But as long as all the tickets in motion are being completed under the estimated time, that's great. But if a ticket is starting to go long, notice these are variance hours. So if a ticket is starting to go long, they can alert the service manager that, I don't see the technician name, but this ticket for customer 5, most likely, let's see, it's probably in technician 3's hands, is going long. You may want to take a look at it, but that's why it's there. And we give this to the service manager as well as the service coordinator. It's their responsibility to drive those tickets down. Sometimes it may be your best tech, your level 3 tech may be responsible, but then the service coordinator would pick it up, make sure the level 3 tech is aware of it, sees it, and has the opportunity to engage. So that's dashboard number 2. This is where you do your workload rebalancing. Dashboard number 3, for the technicians, the most important widget is the ready to engage widget. And I don't know about you, but my history of working with technicians and back when IR one, doing the paperwork was my weakest point. And even as an owner, my team will tell you there's rules in place for everybody but the owner. The owner is terrible at paperwork and notes and keeping people up. I do way too much in my head and way too much on the piece of paper on my desk. The rest of the team, we hold them accountable, and their widgets, their ready to engage widgets, need to be well maintained. Technicians in general don't do paperwork. It's hard to get them to do documentation, hard to get them to do real-time time entry. Those are critical. They're customer facing. Getting them to maintain their own widget, not going to happen. So we have to have the service coordinator looking at these dates and keeping them in the future. Again, we're in a demo database. We work a little differently, but in your situation, every one of these dates, next SLA date, this has to be in the future, because the first time this date is either missing or not in the future, the tech's going to look at it and say, seriously, you want me to work on a ticket that was due a week ago rather than working on a ticket that came in today? No, this ticket has already disappointed the customer. I'm going to prevent disappointing another customer. I'm going to work on the new ticket that came in today. And I'm just, I'll get to this someday, which never happens. We say that all the time. Well, someday I'm going to get to that. Doesn't ever happen. So there you go. It's the service coordinator's responsibility to keep this widget working. If this widget is in fine working order, meaning next SLA event due date is in the future, then the techs will use the dashboard. If the techs use the dashboard, they will maximize their efficiency and they will be totally aware of everything they're responsible for. That's another whole discussion. Happy to have it. Send me an email. I'm happy to do it. But there you go. So Service Coordinator Dashboard 1 is their working dashboard. These are the tickets that are in play, all open tickets. These are the ones that need intervention. Service Coordinator Dashboard 2, this is where they do their workload rebalancing. They can see who has the most tickets, who's underwater, who has the most time either today or this week. These are the ones coming up on SLA. I'm looking for what I can do to make sure we meet the SLA. This is the dashboard they use. And then the most important function for a service coordinator is to keep the techs working efficiently. I have a couple of articles out there. A service coordinator, a good service coordinator that has the authority to drive all tickets, takes the ownership to drive all tickets from new to complete, and has the total authority to control the tech schedule. That service coordinator there will make the techs 10% more efficient. And one of the tools in their tool belt to do that is to keep the ready to engage widget in fine working order. So that's what dashboard number 3 is. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or anything about this video, or if there was something in here where you're like, we don't have that widget, or Steve, what do you offer service coordinator training? The answer is yes. Carol does an outstanding job coordinating and building relationships and motivating service coordinators to take total ownership of all open tickets and total ownership of the tech schedule. So any challenges, any problems in this area, this is the hub of your company. This is the most important position in your company, both from a customer relationship point of view, service delivery excellence point of view, and delivering a superior customer experience. It's all on the shoulders of a service coordinator. They have our utmost respect, our pride, and we're here to help them. So if your service coordinator needs help, you know, drop us an email. Let's make some arrangements. Let's get something going for you. Again, this is Steve from Advanced Global. You can email me at sbuyze@agmsp coaching, or if that's too complicated, you can just email info@agmsp mspcoaching.com. That email address again is info at agmspcoaching.com. And Kathy will do an awesome job getting your email to the right place. I hope you have an awesome day. I hope your board looks as good as this one. If not, give us a call. Thanks for your time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.